Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of Gunman. So this video here is part 2 on the prep, masking and paintwork on this BMW X3. So if you didn't see the first video, I'd probably recommend going back and seeing that one. I'll put a little card up in the top and you can come back and see this after. But yeah, first video we did all the prep and masking, and this video here we're going to be starting off by tack ragging it, continuing right where we left off last video. And we'll get some Ciela down, aka wet on wet primer. I believe in the US they call it Ciela. And we'll be putting some Triple S down, which is what I would call a Ciela, like a transparent Ciela. And that will be gone on our blend panels. And we'll get some base coat down and then some clear coat. Do my best at narrating it. It's going to be a pretty long video, 25-ish minutes. So do my best to keep you guys interested as possible throughout the entire video. Just tack ragging it, obviously. So for the inside of brand new panels these days, you don't actually have to sand them down, depending on obviously what kind of wet on wet primers you're using. You can actually paint straight over it, and you can see all the openings there on that door handle. Not even sanding it, I mainly just sand the flats of it so that I've got a nice flat surface to paint over, whereas little areas like the handle, you're not really going to notice a tiny bit of extra orange peel there, and 9 times out of 10 you can't. So we're using the Standox non-stop filler primer, I think it's called. They've got sort of a similar system to Chromax. Sorry, I was going to say DuPont. It always used to be DuPont, with the value shades. So you can pick 1 to 6 or 1 to 7. Sorry. So 1 is like a very light grey, it's close to white but it's not quite white, and then 7 is close to black but it's not quite black. But either way, you'll be able to usually find one of these value shade type things that will be quite good for your colour. As you can see there, this grey is quite similar in colour to the grey that I'm painting the car. A52 Space Grey. I quite like this colour. I think it's a good one. It's been around for quite some time, and I just think it's a nice colour. It's not like a real out there colour that stands out or anything, but that's kind of what I'm like these days. I don't really want to be going around in a car that's just really loud. Like I've had that before. Anyone that's been around with this channel for a long time will probably remember when I did the XF Falcon Peter Jackson Racing tribute car. Did a full race spray on my XF and painted it up to look like a cigarette packet basically, and that thing was like out of control. It was just too loud. Like the visuals on it were too loud. You would just drive down the street and everyone would look at you. You know, like if you've got yourself a nice hotted up Commodore or Falcon or whatever it is, you know, car people will look at it. But this car, like, everyone would look at it. Kids, grannies, absolutely everyone, because it looked like you should be on the racetrack, you know. And it was actually part of the reason I ended up having to sell it, because I was like driving to work one time and it was like 6 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning or something, and I'm like, what the hell are these guys looking at? You know, like they're just doing some furniture removal or something. I'm like, what are they like walking at me for? And I'd kind of forgotten that I was driving around in that car, and I'm like, oh, of course, you know. So yeah, I mean, it was good fun car, but I just got rid of it because I just had enough of it. But anyway, continuing on with the job, as I do each panel, tack rag it, put some wet on wet down. I'm using the ANI F150. I've got a 1.2 on it in this one, and it works ideal for non-sanding primer, or wet on wet primer, or sealer as I said you'd call it in the US. But the 1.2 like is absolutely perfect because it doesn't overload the material. Like with wet on wet primer, if you go and load that up with like a primer gun, you're just going to get way too much material on it. You're going to get orange peel in it, and that will show through to your final finish. And also, the more you get on, the longer it's going to take to dry. So I prefer to use a fast hardener in it most of the time. However, coming into summer, the heat is on its way, so I might even start, in the real warm days, I might start using a slow or even just a medium hardener in it. So as I've been doing of late, you can see there that I'm wiping the plastic down surrounding the panels with a tack rag. I started to notice that I had a little bit of dust accumulating on it, and I think that was mainly from the car itself. Like when you would pull the plastic over the car, there might be a slight layer of dust on there that didn't actually blow off with the air blower, and then that will stay on the plastic, so that can end up getting into your paint job. One thing I've actually also started doing now is wiping the entire car down, so sort of giving it a little bit of a wash. Like I want to go and take it outside and give it a proper wash with the hose and everything like that, because you're just going to get water all over the car, and you don't want a wet car when you're masking and painting for obvious reasons. It can actually sweat. If you mask a car up when it's wet and you bake it, you can actually have the plastic sweat between the paintwork. You can completely ruin paint jobs doing that, so be careful with masking over wet paint. But yeah, just with a damp rag, I've just been wiping over it quickly, and because it's just damp, it'll dry off, yeah, in no time with an air blower. If it's a warm enough day, you won't even need it. So yeah, just obviously, like I didn't put all the tack ragging footage in this. Like usually I tack rag it 2 times, and when I think it's done, I'll tack rag it again. Like it's the last thing that you do on a job to make sure you get it clean, you know. And this is just the the 222S that I was mentioning earlier, transparent seal I call it. Although technically it's really designed for adhesion promoter. So back before wet on wet primers actually had adhesion promoter properties in themselves, you could spray this over your new panels without sanding them, like I was saying with the insides of your doors. So it's actually what it was originally designed for. But then this guy I used to work with, he's like, man, use this as a blending aid, it's awesome. And I found it works good as a blending aid, and also as it does have some sealing properties. It seems to just hold down some areas that would possibly otherwise shrink back. So yeah, it doesn't need too long at all to flash off, you know, a couple of minutes, that's it, straight on with the base coat. I'm still using the Segola 4600 Extreme. DVR Aqua's the air cap, 1.3mm on it. Thing's a bit of a weapon, gets a lot of material out, and since actually making this video, I have swapped back over to the GTI Pro. I got like that blue GTI Pro, which you actually saw me put the 222S on with. I've put that back in the base coat seat and enjoying using it again. So 2.5 coats is all you really usually need, especially on a colour like this. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, 2.5 coats, especially over that that primer. As you can see, that wet on wet primer, it's just about the same colour anyway. Truth be told, 2 coats probably would have done it, but my rule of thumb's always been get it so it looks covered, and then put another coat over the top, or just even if it's a half a coat, you know, like medium wet coat, get those metallic particles to stand up, something like that. Yeah, you can see like this gun's got a quite nice sized fan on it. Haven't got much bad to say about the Segolas, to be honest. It'd be cool if they did some limited edition design, sort of like the Vilbus and Sada have done. I had like a few people on Instagram complaining about all these limited edition guns that are coming out, and I personally can't complain about it. I think that some of the limited edition guns are like my favourite guns that are out there, and I started this trade in 2000, so I must have got this gun here at the end of 2000 or the start of 2001. So my first gun ever bought was a limited edition. So I can't really complain about it, you know. They've always been around since I've been in the trade, so it's not to me it's not like this new thing or anything. And if I don't like it, I don't buy it. Simple, you know. And same to you. Like if you don't like limited edition guns, don't buy them. You don't have to kind of ruin everyone else's fun because they obviously enjoy it. But yeah, look, one criticism of Segola is I think they could drop the price just a little bit on their guns. Like these Segolas are actually a little bit more expensive than your GTI Pro Lite, so for a lot of people it's going to be a matter of, well, I know the GTI Pro Lite's a good gun, I know it works with me, The Segola could be a bit of an unknown. They might not like it. So to go and spend more money on a 50-50, yeah, could be a bit of a stretch to some people. So if it was like breaking even with a GTI Pro Lite, people could be like, yeah, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. But for an extra, say, $50 or $100, whatever it's going to be, people might sort of think twice about it. But one thing I will say about the Segola from a career developer sprayer, like I've always sprayed for with developers, is they're familiar. They're very familiar gun. Like going from a developer to a SATA, it's like everything's in different places, and you know, after spraying with a certain gun and a certain style of gun for so long, it can actually take a little bit of getting used to just the positioning and the way they spray and that, but all the knobs and just the way it sprays is quite similar to the Vilbus, you know. Yet it sprays a little bit like SATA. It can throw a lot more paint out than your Vilbus can, I've found anyway. Like no matter what air cap you've got on, you won't get a Vilbus to put out this much paint. SATAs are quite known for being hoses, which in certain circumstances I think would be great. Like I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, you know what? If I was doing like resto work or something like that, where I wanted to get like loads of paint on panels, I probably would actually want to get myself a SATA 5000. Those things absolutely hammer it on. I'll probably still get it in 1.2, just so I don't like fully overload it. But yeah, for everyday painting, I just find the SATA is not my favourite gun. Like a guy from work actually had a look through the graveyard. We've got like this box of old guns and stuff, and he found these two SATA RPs. He reckons that they're SATA 3000, but on the side of the gun it just says SATA RP. Pretty cool looking gun, and it's a weapon, man. Like he gave it to me. He goes, "I want to see what you think it is." And I used it once. And I'm like, man. Apart from the drip of clear that came between the pot and the gun itself, that's a good gun. But yeah, each of their own, I guess. Like this other guy, he's a Kiwi guy that I work with. Like I've tried to get him to use the Wilbur spray. He just doesn't like. He never liked them. He's like, nah, they put too much paint out, whatever. But then last week he was doing like a spot repair on a rear bumper, and I had clear in the gun, and he's like, hey, can I just grab that quickly, you know, before you clean the gun out? Like, yeah, go for it, man. I said, be careful, you might like it. Because I had the GTI Pro Lite with the T110 air cap on it. I'm like, yeah. He comes out and he's like, what was that? And I'm like, man, have a look at the air cap. I said, I told you to be careful, you might like it. And he's like, that's awesome. That's the kind of gun I want, you know. So yeah, the T110 is a lot finer. We'll get a very fine atomization. It's a lot slower than the T20. Yeah, it's a great setup. So I believe it's not even available in the US. I got a feeling I know why, because in the US they've got some pretty strict environmental laws. So yeah, that's probably why. So I think it's like LVLP. Like they don't technically call it LVLP, but yeah. Just doing that blend now. I'm just gonna sit down until I think of something to say. But yeah, that same painter I was telling you about a minute ago who loved the T110, like I had a SATA jet. I actually got rid of it because just found I wasn't using it. I had the SATA 5000 aviator. Pretty cool looking gun. I just wasn't using it enough. He loved it though. He's like, man, I wish I could afford one of them. He's got 2 kids though and a missus who's not working, so good luck affording one there, mate. Because they're an expensive gun. They're a little bit overpriced, but you know, I'm sure that you can make the argument that they're a great gun and they're well made. So, you know, personally for me, like, I'm doing okay monetary wise, and I could afford to have 5 or 10 of them if I really wanted to, but I'd sooner have 10 or 20 deviluses, you know. And here we go with that Nebula, as I was talking about the limited edition guns. This is like probably one of my faves. A few people wanted to buy it off me. We actually, maybe by the time this video goes up, the competition will have already been run. But yeah, got a couple of these to give away. As of making this video, they haven't been given away yet. So that. But yeah, like sometimes what I do with my videos, I'll just get all creative and get right into it and really enjoy it. And I might even get like 5 or 10 videos ahead, upload them, and then I'll get a headache even at the side of the computer and won't even turn it on for a month or so. I always still keep an eye on comments and that and do my best to reply to them. But yeah, so clear coat, still running 4 tones out on the fluid, full fan and 2 bar. I've heard some people in America recently comment on my videos saying if you spray clear at 2 bar in America, that like you get over atomization and yeah, too much overspray and stuff like that. I do know that in the US on the air cap of the Techno Pros and Pro Lights, it says max inlet 26 psi. Again, I think that's probably something just partly to do with the emissions laws over there. But here in Australia, all paint reps, they will say to spray everything at 2 bar. Like, I'll say spray base coat, your clear coat, everything at 2 bar. Obviously that may vary depending on the gun that you're using, but they just say rule of thumb 2 bar for everything. And when I was using the Chromax Pro, actually, I think it was part of the reason that I was getting, like, my colour was creeping too far up the blend panels. And I think that's partly because he was using probably too much pressure. But then if you turn it down, you'd have some other issues arise, like mottling and stuff like that. So it's just like, I just had to make sure I got my colours like 98% plus match every time. So if there was a little bit of overspray there, it's not going to matter because your colour is a really good match anyway. So yeah, I think that's about it for this video. You can just chill out and watch me clear the rest of these panels. I hope you have enjoyed watching this 2-part series. I do apologise at the end. I didn't get any end footage of this car out the front, but it did look quite good. Oh, no, I don't have any there. Yeah, look, I'm a busy man at work. As soon as this car went out of the booth, I've no doubt in my mind at all, another one would have came straight in. And yeah, when we're busy, I don't always have time to run around chasing cars up, and usually it's like a 30-minute to an hour window that you've got to keep an eye on those cars if they're going. So like, next thing you know, it'll be polished, washed out the front and picked up. So yeah, apologies that there's no final footage of this thing yeah, when it's all finished, but we'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out.